I was gonna wait till 2:05, but we are live streamed and being recorded, so one more minute and we'll wait for Councilmember Mitchell. All right, it's 2:05. I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting of the Public Safety Committee to order. It is August the 14th, 2023. We have a quorum present. Councilmember Shealy, if I could call on you to provide us with an invocation, please, sir.
I'll be happy to. Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the blessings of this day, Lord. We thank you for those who serve in public safety. We ask that you will watch over them and you'll protect them, particularly our sworn police officers and our firefighters. Lord, we ask that you'll give guidance to Ben Alquist and his team who direct and protect us when things are going rough, Lord. And we ask that you'll help us in our search for a new police chief. And we ask that you'll just continue to bless the city of Charleston. For it's in your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Well done. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I have to be honest with you, I don't remember reviewing my June 12th minutes, but I'll entertain a motion to approve our June 12th minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Very good. Under old business, I've asked for an update. And Kay, where'd you go? There you are.
I'm here. Yes, sir.
You were here, then you were gone, you're back. So Kay, would you give us a quick update on where we are with our police chief search?
Yes, sir. I'd be happy to. Good afternoon, council members, mayor, and all those joining the call. I won't take up too much of your time, but just wanted to give you a brief update on where we are. I think all of you know that we've contracted with PERF, Police Executive Research Forum. They have, we engaged them to hire our last two police chiefs. And of course, we all believe they did a wonderful job for us. And I'm sure they will this time as well. But they went live with their posting on June 30th. It closed on July 31st. So they are in the process now of reviewing applications. They're taking the applications and they're doing a kind of a security check, not as in detail as who was ultimately selected will go through, but they're still looking and trying to do a little bit of a of a search on these candidates. We had 34 applicants. We have 4 from South Carolina. We had them, applicants from 19 states, Colorado, Virginia, Ohio, Wisconsin, Maryland, Florida, and District of Columbia, just to name some of the states where we received those. And they are in the process now of, as I said, not only looking into the candidate's background, but once they get it down to who they feel are kind of who stands out in the group, they're going to have them fill out essay questionnaires. And this is what we did last time, and we thought it worked really well. Asking them to give us their ideas on recruiting, hiring, retention challenges that police departments across the country are facing now, addictions, mental health, other related conditions as it pertains to our homeless population, and then just what they really feel like are the most significant challenges that policing will face in the next 3 to 5 years and how they plan to address it. We really feel like answering those types of questions gives us a little bit of a insight into the candidates. So I think it's going to be about a dozen or so is what they said. Now, there could be some may fall out, or there could even be a couple more they add as they go through their process, but we're expecting there to be about a dozen who they're going to, bring to us. And then we'll just have to have a lot of discussion about, the candidate's strengths and weaknesses. And once we get it down to probably maybe 5 or 6, kind of like we did before, we will, anyone's out of state, of course, we'll bring to Charleston. And just like we did before, Councilmember Shade. In fact, I know you were on the Public Safety Committee last time, but all the Public Safety Committee members were invited to participate in the subcommittees where we did the actual, interviews. So we plan on having a process very similar to that. We thought that worked really well. With a lot of details yet to work out. We're still pretty early in the process, but just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of where we are. And do you have any questions for me?
There's a few questions. Councilman Shealy, go ahead. You can go first.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, you said 34 total, is that correct? But
Yes,
only
sir.
4 from the state of South Carolina.
4 from the state of South Carolina. Yes, sir.
Can I ask if all 4 or any of those 4 are currently employed with the city?
Honestly,
We may
I'm
not want to
sorry.
answer that question.
Okay, we may not, okay.
And I will be honest with you, I don't have the names of all of the applicants because we knew a lot of them. The names won't really mean anything to us right now at this point. So I really don't know who all there is going to be in their top group, to be honest.
Okay.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Thank
do you have a question?
No, not really. I'm just listening and seeing what it is. I think we have a lot of candidates there, but I'm looking at candidates that really have been in Charleston, know what we're all about here. And I know we bring in a lot of candidates that we're looking at a lot of candidates from out of the state, but we have a lot of challenges all over the place. But living in Charleston, knowing Charleston, the way Charleston have changed a lot, we still need to look at what's coming from Charleston itself. That's just my opinion.
No, I
Thank you.
understand. I understand, sir, and I'm certain that will be taken in consideration.
Councilmember Brady, any questions?
I do not.
Okay.
That was going to be my question, was how many were currently with the city?
Let's hold off on that answer. Mr. Mayor, any further comments? Okay. Kay, at some point, can we get a breakdown, you think, as to male, female, and other demographic information, African American?
Yes, sir. I will say that at this point, they don't even really know the ethnicity of all of the group that they'll be considering the finalist group, but they did share with us at least 3 African Americans and 2 females. So we do think we have some diversity in the candidate pool.
Very good. Okay. Okay, that was a very quick but very informative. We appreciate it, you being to the point as always. And
Yes, sir.
so when do you think the paring down process will begin, when we get to the 12 or to the 5 and 6 level? Is that you think that 60 days is realistic?
I think that we're looking at hopefully for having the list down to the top 5 or 6 or whatever that looks like. I think we're hoping to maybe the 3rd week in September, maybe even as early as mid-September. I guess it just kind of depends on how quickly the process moves. But I think the idea is, and Mayor Rick, please feel free to weigh in, but I think that's kind of what we're thinking about is toward the latter part at the latest, the latter part of September.
Yeah, I think Councilman Shea, we're hoping for mid-September to get those 3 subcommittees together again, like we had the last time, which will be comprised of members of all of the members of the Public Safety Committee will be on one of the 3 subcommittees. And then last time we had some community members. We want to do that again. And there were some city directors on it as well, particularly the departments that work most closely with the police department. So hopefully we're going to try to schedule all of that in mid-September, if everything goes according to plan.
Very good. Yes, sir. Councilman Shealy.
Just curious if CPAC will play a role in it at all.
I think Councilman Shealy, one of the members of the community group, would like to get from CPAC, so that one of their members is part of this subcommittee. We'd also looking at the HARC as well, a member from HARC to be part of the subcommittee. And since King Street has been such an important part of with the police effort in the last couple of years. We're trying to get one of the members of the hospitality community from King Street to be on it as well. So that would be our goal anyway.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you, Kay. We'll move on to the next item of business.
All right,
Um,
thank you, sir.
Appreciate you joining us, Kay. Take care.
Thank you, you too.
All right. So, Ben, you're up next, our emergency management director. And I believe items A and B will fall into your category. So you want to just combine both of those together, or whatever is your pleasure?
Yes, sir. That's fine with me. The first item is a resolution regarding officially adopting the National Incident Management System as the basis for our incident management for emergency services. This was initially supposed to have been done in conjunction with the Emergency Operations Plan. However, it was never formally presented and didn't get a signature on it. So we're kind of just cleaning things up by getting that done now. This is something it's a best practice, and it also helps us with eligibility for FEMA and DHS grants.
This is part of the National Incident Management System.
Yes, sir.
Right. And I think this was born out of the 911. Have I read that correctly?
It predates that just a little bit. That's sort of when the federal government adopted it, but it really comes out of California Fire. They've been doing this for a long time with wildfires. And really the federal government just adopted a lot of their practices and made them sort of the national standard.
Right. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the approval resolution designating NIMS.
Move for approval, Councilman Mitchell.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
So Councilman Shealy. All right, Mr. Mayor.
I was just going to add that this protocol really became kind of standard operating procedure after 9/11, after the terrible attack there, and local governments throughout the country started adopting using the National Incident Management System. The city has been operating on it for some time before I began my service as mayor, but we've been faithfully going by NIMS ever since I've been mayor, and I think have called the MEAC into action more times in the last 8 years than we did in any time before then, just with the number of storms that we've had. But it's a system that works well, and I'm a little surprised they hadn't upgraded it since 2017. But it is something we should check this box and have it officially approved. Thank you.
All right, any further discussions or questions regarding this resolution? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, Ben, you will give us an update?
Yes, sir. So we have just received the official update from NOAA on this year's hurricane season. They have upgraded their predictions. They are now saying that they see it as an above normal season for tropical activity. They've got that at a 60% chance, which is up from 30% in their May forecast. Their prediction for a normal season dropped from 40% in May to 25%, and below normal dropped from 30% in May to 15%. For a little bit of context, we are currently through the D's on named storms this year. This time last year, we had just gotten through the C's. That's really about average. Of course, in 2020, at this point, we were in the I's, and that was the year that we had 30 named storms. NOAA has advised that they're upgrading this prediction based on water temperatures. Elevated water temperatures make it easier for tropical storms to form. course, this doesn't really change anything that we're doing as far as preparations. We always plan on the worst case scenario. There could be one storm and it might come straight for us. So we're always prepared. This doesn't change anything to our point of view. As far as the rest of the department goes right now, we are continuing to implement some operational changes, adopting best practices, things that I've picked up throughout my time in emergency management that I felt would really fit well with what the city does. We've implemented a training program, which has gone very well. Cannot say enough about the professionals that we have working for the city and their willingness to learn something new when it comes to emergency management. That's sort of been the major focus. We're also working on the hazard mitigation plan. I received the first draft of that. Currently working on providing edits back to our contractor so that they can get us an updated version. We're hoping to have that finalized well before the end of the year. Right now, those are our major pushes.
Okay, any questions from members of the committee first? Councilmember Brady?
No, I'm good.
I saw Councilmember Mitchell shake his head and so did Councilmember Shealy. Bear, any further comments or questions? Mayor?
No.
Okay, so then there's a few follow-up questions for you. I'm also presuming as part of the preparation that you have been coordinating with our other partners with the county and other municipalities. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Yes, sir. We do a lot of coordination meetings. Those range anywhere from training exercises that we're doing with them to official planning meetings, and then just my one-off conversations with the other EMD directors throughout the Tri-County and the state. I stay in regular contact with all the other directors just because we're always trying to see what each other is doing. That's one of the easiest ways for us to learn. So coordination is constant throughout the year. We're always working on figuring out where our mission gaps are and how we can address those better.
Ben, as part of the updates that you're getting from the national services, do they provide any type of prediction, not necessarily just as to the number of expected storms, but also to the categories that they think these storms may fall into?
They do, based on a generic scale. It's named storms, hurricanes, and then major hurricanes. I believe that they updated their major hurricane prediction to between 4 and 6. That's up from, I think it was 3 to 5.
And major would be a category
3 or above.
Okay. Are there any issues that we need to be aware of, Ben, as far as anything regarding with particularly in funding issues, or you think that if a storm hit tomorrow, we would be prepared to respond?
If a storm hit tomorrow, we would be prepared. I will never allow us to be in a position that we're not prepared. Things can always be more efficient. They can always be more optimal. They can be easier on us. But I will always have contingency plans for every foreseeable scenario.
The reason I asked that question wasn't that we were not being prepared, but more of were there any shortfalls or things that we were lacking that we needed to have in preparation for that we need to be expecting, or things are in good shape, I guess.
Yes, sir. We have an available resource for all of the boxes that we check. Of course, we're watching the situation out in Hawaii right now and how they've had to deal with a catastrophic situation that overwhelmed their resources. So when they've resolved that, that'll be our next major discussion here in the Low Country is what do we do when that catastrophic event that just overwhelms everything happens? What do we do to make sure that we get things back up to normal as quickly as possible?
Very good. All right. Well, Ben, that seemed kind of a short report considering the major impact these things have on our community. But it's good to know that we're prepared and we're being diligent and our coordination's at a good level. We appreciated all that. Carl, I see your hand up. Councilmember Brady.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I was just going to ask if we're moving to the next section of the agenda. C, D, and E are related, and I was wondering if we could move to take those together.
I was getting ready to do that when I finished up with Ben. So you're a little ahead of me, but yes. All right. Are there any further questions or comments regarding emergency management? All right, Ben, I'm glad we don't see you too often.
Sir,
Keep up the good work.
thank you, sir.
Continue on with that. All right, I think that Councilmember Brady was a little ahead of me, but items, I believe C, D, E, and F, we can consolidate. Is that your?
I would move for that.
Okay, so items C, D, E, and F, there's a second to consolidate them as one discussion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor of consolidating C, D, E, and F, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it. So Steve, where are you? Yeah, you. Okay, Steve Rumlin. I see your.
Sir.
These are our resource office, our memorandum of understanding with our CSOs. Not CSOs.
Yes, with our SROs.
SROs. I had a discussion about CSOs earlier with somebody. So that was stuck in my brain.
Yeah, so our big one is Charleston County School District. They pay for 14 of our school resource officers in various schools that are listed in the contract. What's a little different about this contract this year, rather than just doing it for the 23-24 school year, we've expanded it out 3 years. We've got an increase in the compensation for the school resource officers up from $37,000 and change to $39,222. And then each year it'll increase 3% for the 24-25 school year and 25-26 school year. There's also an additional 2 officers that are in 2 of our elementary schools, James Island Montessori and Meminger. On the agenda, it was contingent upon us receiving funding from the state by a grant, and we have received that funding. You all have already approved acceptance of that, so those 2 positions will be funded. The next one is Charleston Charter School for Math and Science. That's new this year, and that is also funded by that grant. So that'll be paid by the state for that school resource officer. And then James Island Charter High School is just 1 officer there. We've had that officer in place for a number of years. And on the agenda form, we match the compensation from James Island Charter High School with that provided by Charleston County School District, and therefore that will also be the same $39,222 that they will pay us. And that's it for the SROs. If anyone has any questions on those, we have Deputy Chief Thompson has logistics and details regarding the officers. Cassandra Payton is on financial issues, and I can hopefully answer any legal questions.
Very good. All right. Councilmember Shealy, Mitchell, or Brady? Any
No, I'm
questions?
good.
I'm good.
Mr. Mayor? There was an issue that Steve, I called you about earlier, and that was coordination. I understand that the school district is contracting with some private security companies to provide gap coverage on these schools. And you had reached out to Deputy Chief Thompson about that, I understand.
Yes, sir. And I can give you the short answer on that, and he can fill in anything I miss. It's my understanding that they're hiring private security for 8 of the elementary schools. And those officers will coordinate with CPD. Those officers also receive some extensive training on some of the issues that SRO and security people face in schools. So we will be coordinating with them, training with them, staying in contact with them. And again, those will be officers in the 8 schools that we currently don't have SROs in. I believe 6 are already hired, and there's 2 more that they're hoping to hire on by the beginning of the school year.
Okay, and they are, they have the capacity to be able to communicate with our CPD officers. So there's a level of coordination with them as well.
Yes,
That would
sir.
be,
Yeah, I can answer that, Steve. Yes, sir. And it's also important to understand that those schools were already covered under our SSRT, the School Security Response Teams. Last year, the elementary schools hired, I believe, 2 private security. And then, like Steve said, this year, just putting them in all the elementary schools, but they will be communicating particularly with the SSRT team. And they're already assigned to clusters, and they have been for many years. We have probably roughly 8 to 10 full-time SROs in elementary schools.
Okay, so in the event of a need to communicate with one another, because of their private security companies, they had the capacity of communicating with CPD officers.
Yes, sir. So that'll be part of the training with Charleston County School District, just as it is now with the administrators communicating directly with our teams. So we don't anticipate any hiccups with that. Like I said, we had 2 last year, worked out really well. And this year, the school district found more money to actually put that security in each of the remaining 8 elementary schools.
Okay. So are those private security folks working at the same location, or they're just there to fill in the gaps? We don't have school security officers present.
So it's my understanding that I believe your question was, they're not going to rotate. They will have a person assigned to each school. Now, obviously, if somebody resigns or calling sick, I'm sure this team has a plan in place, but it is a private security company that they hired.
Okay. All right. Very good. Any other comments, questions, suggestions? So I don't know if we did this, but I'll entertain a motion to adopt C, D, E, and F.
move for approval.
Second.
Okay. All right. All those in favor of adopting C, D, E, and F, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, ayes have it. Very good.
Hi,
Uh,
but could we have,
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
could
sir,
we
Mr. Mayor.
have- Mr. Chairman,
Sir.
if we're voting on F as well, could we just get Steve's update on that agreement with the Charleston County Sheriff's Department? That was beyond, I think, the school resource officers, wasn't it, Steve?
I thought he talked
yes,
about.
sir.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, we already have a law enforcement assistance and a support agreement. That's basically our mutual aid agreement with the sheriff's office. We're basically just updating it at their request to reflect the current sheriff and our interim police chief, Chief Walker. All the terms of that agreement are exactly the same as the one we currently have in place.
Thank you.
Any further questions
We
for?
just approved it, but I just wanted to make, for the record, say what it was. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, Councilman Shealy.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to mention, while we were on schools that, when August 23rd rolls around here again, there will be literally probably 1,000 unexperienced drivers coming down Glenn McConnell Parkway, also James Island High School as well. And it is it's an absolute mess for those first couple of days. Troy Mitchell does a great job, by the way, traffic and transportation, of watching that light at Wildcat and Glenn McConnell Parkway. But just wanted to mention that if we can just have eyes and ears open. I know that we do have our resource officers on campus, but there's a lot of activity going out on the roads on Glenn McConnell, Wildcat Boulevard, because you got West Ashley High School, you got West Ashley Center for Advanced Studies, and you've got C.E. Williams Middle School, all going to that one location, and kids from all over Charleston, really, but certainly from all areas of West Ashley. So just wanted to mention that.
And you got the construction of the Glenn McConnell, so ongoing.
That's right. A lot of construction going on there too, as well. So.
Councilman Mitchell.
yes, after Councilman Shealy mentioned that, I have the same thing in my area because right where I live, I have 3 schools right here. about 4 schools, if you may, right here on King Street, right by me, and that traffic is tremendous. But then it's nothing else they can do about it so far as rerouting that traffic. We have Sacred Heart right next door to me. We have James Simmons there. We have the Math and Science School there. So all those that traffic is backed up each way during the time kids are getting out of school, and the traffic is coming down King Street and it's coming down Hughes Street. So we just got to be mindful of the traffic pattern that's happening there during the time when kids are getting out of school, and then when they're entering school, when their parents are picking them up, because the traffic is back down the streets, and these cars are coming down the streets pretty fast sometimes. And so we just have to be mindful of that, and law enforcement can be mindful of just looking at those patterns, because it can't be changed. Because I had to change a couple of times, but that's the best way we can do it now, because the way the traffic is backed up along Hughes Street, King Street, and Mootsie Street, Albert Street. So I can understand that situation, but that's right in the peninsula here. And then, when Thursday and Friday comes, how King Street is down lower, downtown King Street, even with the traffic, with the kids getting out of school, we have to be very careful with that too.
Councilmember Mitchell, you're showing your age. It's now Charleston Catholic School, not Sacred Heart.
Well, I still call it Sacred Heart, but
I
it's,
know you
you know how that is. But
I was a student there many moons ago.
yeah, but you know how the traffic is here. It's
I
backed
very
up
much familiar.
from Hughes Street, from Congress Street all the way to Columbus Street that way, and on Hughes Street is backed up all the way that way around King Street for James Simmons. Then you still have the Math and Science up there. So we have 3 schools right in that particular area that the traffic is very tremendous, and so we have to be careful with cars coming down who's passing by, because they have to switch the lane to get into the lane that's the oncoming traffic to get by. So we have to be, just kind of look out for those things. So we don't want to see anybody get hurt or any accident happen.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you from Councilman Shealy and Mitchell for reminding us about that. School started out real soon, and you're right, the traffic will go into high gear. All right, any further questions or discussions? I think we've passed C, D, E, and F. Didn't we, Patrick?
That is correct.
Okay, all right. And Mayor, thank you for clarifying that for us as well on item F. It seems like we're on item G, and Cassandra, are you going to talk to us about item G, the police department approval to accept an award for the Ernest E. Kennedy Center?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, council members and mayor. This is the approval to accept an award for the FY23 Ernest E. Kennedy Center AET grant. We do this grant annually. It's for $4,000, and we utilize it for combating underage drinking and drug use with ID software and field intelligence training. There's no match for this grant as well.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve item G.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right,
Mr. Chairman, most of the rest of them is also grant with no city match. They can, if we approve it, they can explain it if they need to. But all of them city, really, there's no match to none of the grants that they're writing from, for the rest of those items on the agenda.
you talking about items H, I, and J?
H, right, H through K.
Okay,
I will second Councilmember Mitchell's motion.
Let's do H, I together. That deals with the fire department, and then we'll move into J. That'd be all right with you guys?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Fine, so be it.
Motion to incorporate H and I together as one. So a second.
Second.
Any all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those ayes have it. Chief Courier.
Good afternoon, everybody. Councilmember Mitchell is right. It's both are no match grants. The fire department recently assumed coordination for the incident management team for the Low Country region of the state. And these grants will buy new equipment. And once we assess the training deficiencies in the team, it'll get us the training we need to have a fully functioning entity.
All right. Is that for both H and I, Chief?
Yes, sir. Mhm.
And that's new equipment for both of those items. and the training associated with the use.
That's correct.
All those in favor of approving H and I say aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. And then Cassandra, I think we'll come back to you on this $52,000 grant.
Yes, sir. I'll be taking J and K. J is the approval to submit an application for the FY23 Edward Berm JAG grant for $52,139. This is also an annual grant that we apply for every year. The funds are going to be used to outfit some pretty important K9 under unit equipment, as well as some underwater rescue equipment and some external carriers for patrol officers. And again, just like the other grant, there is no match for this as well.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve item J.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? Councilmember Shealy.
Yeah, Cassandra, I just wanted to ask, I know when I was taking the Citizens Police Academy training, the underwater rescue team van or truck, whatever you call it, it looked like it was getting pretty old and ragged. Do you know if we've had any plans to update that?
Well, actually, I just met with Deputy Chief Walker, Deputy Chief Thompson as well, and Weeze just the other day. And we do have a pretty extensive plan, I believe. And DC Thompson, please feel free to chime in on this one. But we do have a plan in place, I think, to address that through lease purchase potentially.
Okay, great. I just know when I was going through that training, I thought, wow, that thing could break down. There could be an emergency. We need to get some divers down and we can't get there because the truck breaks down. So I do think it should be a priority.
Thanks for bringing that to our
Yes,
attention, Shealy.
Yes, sir. It is.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And then all those in favor of item J, say aye.
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 The ayes have it. All right. Steve, back to you one more time for this MOU with the Medical University.
Actually, Cassandra,
Council-
Oh, you do that?
Yeah,
Cassandra?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm going to take this one as well. It's the approval of an agreement renewal. This is renewing the agreement we have with MUSC for a wellness and resiliency services. Essentially, it is for a wellness check-in that we do every year for our forensics first personnel and the MATE team as well. I know, Mary, you had a couple questions on it, but more or less they do some stress management training with our folks. And these are folks that are, out in the field that are seeing some pretty horrific vehicle accidents and or, our crime scene investigators as well and crime scene technicians. And so they do this training every year through both those units. In this contract, the renewal, all we did was just add the MATE team. And then they also do one-on-one check-ins. And if there's any follow-up needed where one of our folks needs some additional help, then they would follow up with the MUSC counselors. There is a cost of this for $4,000 and it'll be budgeted into the healthcare budget annually.
Move for approval.
Second.
Cassandra, does this also make it available for anybody from the fire department? Or is this just restricted?
Right now, sir, this is just a smaller, kind of, I would call it more of a smaller program that we've utilized. I'm not sure that fire utilizes MUSC for this. I know they have similar contracts for CDMH, but I would refer to Chief Curry. But there is an appetite for future council member to look at expanding this program, in particular in the PD realm.
Chief Curry, if you're still on, can you comment about that?
Excuse me, absolutely. So we use Charleston, Dorchester Mental Health, and we have a standing contract with them that goes through the HR process every year. And I know we've been having some conversations with the police department. I'm not sure if it's specific to this item on the agenda, but we have been conversing about how we can best deal with first responder mental health and tackle that together. So we have been having the conversations.
Right, very good. We're covered from both sides, regardless.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. Any further questions or comments or on item K? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Heather, I see you on. Is there anything that you wanted to add to our discussion or any other item?
Good afternoon. You caught me off guard there.
Well, when you join the meeting, we may call on you, so be prepared.
Yeah, no, the issue I'm working on is our research agreement, making sure it's moving along very smoothly. And that's with the assessment for the racial bias audit. There was a temporary pause put in place just to discuss some funding issues with our main researcher, USC, and we're going to have a meeting this week. So everything's proceeding smoothly. It's on track, and it will be completed in the time frame of the contract.
So, and I may call on you at our September public safety meeting to give us more of an update and a further discussion about that issue. But we'll see what happens after your meeting you got scheduled on
Okay,
that,
great. Thank you.
on that particular issue. I won't call on you now about that, but I know there's been some lively discussion about that, and we'll circle back with you maybe in September. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Chief Walker, you joined us a little late, but glad to see you here. Anything else you want to add to the good of the order?
No, sir. Like I said, we'll be able to provide more information in that September meeting with a little overall presentation, just where the department is, and go from there. So
Okay.
We'll be ready to go.
All right. Very good. Chief Courier, anything else on your end?
No, sir. Everything's good.
All right, very good. Anything else from any member of the mayor or any other council member? Councilmember Shealy.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to mention, I've been to some of the opioid overdose, Narcan, fentanyl training for both the fire department and the police department. Both are doing an outstanding job. They're great educational opportunities. And it was brought before the Health and Wellness Advisory Committee, which I am able to chair. And just thought I would mention that the two groups might just try to work together. Both of them are doing an outstanding job, but there may be something we can do more efficiently if we coordinate the two. So I just thought I'd mention that, but both are doing an outstanding job. They're great programs, and I appreciate what you're doing. So thank you.
So I appreciate you bringing that to our attention, Councilman Shealy. And for the committee's edification, I've reached out to Interim Chief Walker, Chief Courier, and to Judge Herdina. We normally have our annual report from each department as to where we stand with numbers. They're working on that. I've asked them to be prepared to give us a report maybe in September. We'll spread that out so we're not overwhelmed with one committee. So the next two meetings in the month of September, maybe into October, we'll be getting an update from the police department, fire department, and our judicial department as well on that. So that, and also maybe a report from Heather and Chief Walker on the internal audit. That's been lively discussions about that have taken place among many of us the last several weeks. So we'll get an update on the internal audit as well. There's nothing being further to be discussed. We'll adjourn this meeting. Thank you all very much for your participation and high-level discussions. And I'll see some of you in a couple of minutes or so. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, everybody.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Peace out.